When are you going to start taking your real estate sales business seriously? I mean, when are you going to actually treat it like a business and hire employees so that way you could do the work that matters most? Today we're talking about leverage, a term that's as stale as old grocery store bread that's in the dumpster out back. It is, however, the industry term that is used all the time, so I'm going to be using it as well today. Today I'm going to define what leverage is and tell you what it actually looks like day to day in a real estate sales business, both as a team owner, a team leader, a solo agent, and a business owner of other real estate sales businesses. I've had experience with leverage for the last 15 years or so, both in a professional setting and also in my own businesses that I run. My name is Lou Raven. I'm with REinvest Real Estate. My claim to fame is that I grew 3 six-figure businesses in just 3 years, and leverage is the secret to doing that. We help agents go from production to legacy in our Skool community, so go to Skool.com and check out REinvest Real Estate. There are tons of resources in there that will help you grow your business for free. So let's dive right into it. What exactly is leverage? Leverage is anything that makes the work that you do easier. It can quite literally be a machine, or it could be a person. It could be an AI system, or any number of things that are designed to make you more efficient and more effective in your job. When we talk about leverage in real estate sales, we often talk about using human capital to help us do our jobs more effectively. The most common form of leverage that's discussed is hiring a transaction coordinator, and some people talk about hiring a listing coordinator too, which I absolutely do recommend. A transaction coordinator and a listing coordinator are people that specialize in doing paperwork and doing it exceptionally well. Now, paperwork is often something that real estate agents struggle with, so it makes sense to leverage out this activity by hiring somebody to do it for you, and in return for the money you're paying them, you get time back. And you can leverage your time and use it to go do higher dollar per hour activities like lead generating, lead following up, negotiating contracts, you know, the real things that a real estate agent's supposed to do, not just sit around and check email all day long. The core concept of leverage in growing a real estate sales business is that you're going to increase the dollar per hour that you earn by getting rid of activities that you can hire at a rate that's lower than your hourly wage. The most common example of leverage in a real estate sales business is hiring a transaction coordinator, and that's absolutely where I recommend most agents start. It makes sense to get rid of things that are going to keep you stuck at a desk doing work that you're not really designed to do. A real estate agent really only has a couple jobs: show houses, go on listing appointments, sign clients, negotiate deals, maybe go to inspections and keep a deal together. But in no way is our job supposed to be shuffling paperwork back and forth between attorneys and agents and lenders. Now, that is important work that has to get done. But I will challenge the agent that says that they have to do it with 2 different things. First off, is it the highest and best use of your time? If you were out signing listings, you would be earning hundreds of dollars per hour for the work that you put into both lead generation and managing that transaction from contract to close, versus hiring a transaction coordinator for, I don't know, a couple $100 per transaction, which breaks down to maybe $25 per hour. The second thing I'd say is that most real estate agents really are not that good at paperwork in the first place. So if you're not the best person to do something, does it really make sense to hold on to that task? I think not. When it comes to leveraging your transaction coordination out, you could do it in a number of different ways. I personally am a team member within the Brook team at eXp Real Estate. We sell about 500 homes per year, and I'm also a team leader within that. So I leverage the team in a couple different ways. The first and the most obvious is that we have a team around us that manage our transactions for us, that help us write offers, that manage the listing coordinating process, that make marketing materials for us. So my sales business, honestly, I don't really spend that much time in it. On average, I spend about 10 hours on a listing from cradle to grave, from very first appointment until close, and that is a ridiculously high dollar per hour. The other way that I use leverage within Brook Team is I have agents that I mentor, and I earn a percentage of the compensation that would otherwise go to the team in exchange for mentoring them. So in essence, I am leveraging all of the team's resources to build my own team within their structure. What that means is I don't have any payroll expense. I don't have the headache of hiring new people and training them. I'm not paying for leads and for systems. I honestly don't even have to be the person that's the most up to date with what's going on in the real estate market and the sales strategies that are working right now. To be completely clear, I obviously stay abreast of what's going on in the market, but a lot of times I'm able to just glean the information that's given to me by David, our team leader, and recycle it back to my team agents and really lead based on that information. And spoiler alert, David is getting that information from his colleagues who also run teams that are hundreds of millions of dollars in sales per year, and they all share openly within the Fast Forward movement at eXp Realty. If you're curious about that, send me a DM. I'm happy to talk to you about how we just give away information for free and how we believe in collaboration over competition. Now, if you're a solo agent, you might say, Lou, that's all well and good for you. I've already got a sales business. I've been in the game for 5 or 10 years, and I don't want to join a team. No problem. I'm not here to convince you to join a team or anything like that. In fact, I don't even know what's available in your market to be able to recommend a team. So if you're a solo agent and you're feeling stuck, if you've hit a ceiling and you can't quite break through it, I suggest that you look at where your time is going and ask yourself if you're using your time in the most effective way possible. The most common things I see solo agents wasting time include managing transactions, getting listing information together, showing homes, below a certain price point in particular, and doing some marketing activities. Now, we've already talked about transaction coordinating and listing coordinating, and those are services that are very easy to find and hire out for. Just do a Google search for your local area, interview a couple TCs and LCs. In fact, some of them do both sides of the deal. Now, before I go into best practices for working with a TC and an LC, I'm going to explain to you how I'd go about hiring a marketing team around me at a discount and how I would find showing coverage to ensure that you can leverage your time most effectively. From a marketing point of view, you can go to Upwork.com or Fiverr.com and search for people that do freelance work. You can find video editors, people who are graphic designers who can make logos for you, make websites, make posts about that open house that you have, whatever it is. They can design out a full suite of templates for you in Canva with brand colors that are specific to you, and they can make templates and make it extremely easy and efficient for them to create the content for you ongoing. That to me is the most effective way to leverage out marketing for a solo agent. You're not taking on the full payroll expense of somebody who's working for you 40 hours per week. Most of us don't have that level of marketing work in the first place. The fourth and final category for time wasters for solo agents is showings. Now, this might sound a little bit counterintuitive. You may say, Lou, I am the product, I am the real estate agent, like people need to be working with me. I can't farm that out to anybody else. I will push back and say the following. When you go to the dentist, is the dentist the person that checks you in at the front desk? Do they clean your teeth? No, they don't. But you still associate going to the dentist with, in my case, seeing Dr. Kasperzak. And I am not in any way offended that there's somebody else that checks me in and cleans my teeth. In the same way, if you present this concept to your clients in a normal way, and you just say, from time to time, I may have a colleague of mine open the door for you and show you around. I'll always be the person who's doing the CMA before submitting an offer and negotiating on your behalf directly. Would it be okay if from time to time, if I'm tied up, I have a colleague show a home? I've never had a single client have a problem with that because you just spin it to them and say, hey, I don't have infinite time. I'm not available all the time, but I do want to make sure that you get in the home as quickly as possible so we can see if it's a good fit for you and your family. So if you can take these concepts and make them about the client and how it's a benefit to them, it will be an easier sell. Not to the client, because the client's not the problem. It'll be an easier sell to yourself in believing that it is the right decision. Now, I want to take a step back and talk about best practices for managing a transaction coordinator and a listing coordinator. If you're on a team, there's probably a well-defined list of tasks that the TC does and that the agent does, and that the LC does and that the agent does. My strong recommendation is that you stick to that list and do not deviate. From time to time, I see agents who take on extra work that's outside of their scope, meaning they'll do a job that isn't theirs. They'll do something that's on the TC's list thinking that it's helpful or they could just do it quickly or faster, but it ends up causing confusion because the TC has a very specific list of tasks to do, and if you do it, you're now creating a whole other situation where communication is needed. You're gonna get a phone call, which is gonna interrupt you when you're doing something that hopefully is important, and you've now put a roadblock roadblock in the way of productivity for both you and that transaction coordinator. So set the parameters of what work is to be done by each person and get the heck out of the way. Now, you might be a solo agent without a list of responsibilities divided between you and a transaction coordinator. That's okay. Any good TC company should have a list of services they offer, and they should have an SOP explaining clearly what it is that they do and what it is that they expect the agent to do. There are a few other things that I recommend you look at when you're hiring a transaction coordinating team. I would first look at the amount of work that you do versus what the transaction coordinator does. I would look at their involvement in communication. I would of course look at their track record. I'd ask for some referrals to agents that have worked with them for a while. And I would finally then look at price. Price for me is the lowest thing on that list because oftentimes you'll find that transaction coordinating services are all going to be within like $100 range or so. And if there's somebody that can get you an extra 2 or 3 hours back of your time, I would pay $100 for that all day long because that translates to $33 to $50 per hour. And I know if I go out and sign a listing and I'm only spending 10 hours total from prep through closing on that listing appointment, I'm earning anywhere between $500 to $1,000 per hour on a very conservative side on a very low sale. So, it's up to you. You do the math and decide if it makes sense to bring leverage into your business. If you're dead broke and you absolutely don't have any money to spare and you're brand new and you're just trying to hack into real estate, maybe you don't go ahead and hire the marketing person, but maybe you do still hire the transaction coordinator and you make that investment in your business and you just have faith that it's going to work out. You can get into terms with your transaction coordinator where they get paid at the closing table and you have no real cost up front. You just have to make sure that that deal gets to the closing table. But if it's me, I would always be looking at how do I be most effective with my time. I need to be as productive as possible during the day, lead generating and lead following up. And during the afternoons and evenings, I need to be going on as many appointments as I possibly can. I don't have time to be emailing lenders and attorneys and chasing down initials on lead disclosures, and neither do you. I hope these tips were helpful. If you're interested in more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell button so you get notified when we have new videos. We also have a free community on Skool.com. Just search for REinvest Real Estate and join a network of agents who are willing to help each other openly with no expectation other than just making the industry better. Until next time, I'm Lou, signing off.